All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. Truly appreciate the support. We are back at it with the latest main branch software update 2024 14.7. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'll say 2024 14.x because you might have gotten any variation of this version of the software. You could have got 14.5, 14.6, 14.7, 14.8. And I know as of right now, as of this filming, the rollout has been paused because there's been a few bugs in there. We've encountered some ourselves. I'll talk about that in a bit, but it's been a little bit buggy. So they've been making some adjustments. However, this is a big major update for Tesla, the big spring update, and it brings to it a couple of different things. One is the version 12 UI, which is what you're going to see if you have a Model 3 and a Model Y primarily, bringing those to parity with the UI that the Cybertruck is using, leveraging more of the power of the graphics processor inside of the cars to be able to show a high fidelity rendering of the car on the screen as your new sort of home screen, landing screen, if you will, to be able to do that. And this is primarily going to be for the newer cars, the new Model 3s and Model Ys, as well as Cybertruck already has it. But also some of the older ones are already getting that as well. They're saying it's not intentionally for the Intel processors, but some of the Intel processors are getting some of the features and functionality of those newer ones, even though we kind of thought that they wouldn't get them. All right, so it's bringing the new UI for version 12, some new features that we haven't seen just yet here on the Model S or Model X, but a little bit of a rant on our end just because it seems as though Tesla is not treating the Model S and X like the flagship vehicles they are. You hear me talk about this all the time. They're treating the high volume cars, 3s and Ys, like the flagship vehicles, giving them all the latest and greatest. So for Model S and X, we don't have that new visualization. We don't have a high fidelity version of the car to have here that we can spin around in 360 degrees, high frame rate, nice visuals, highly rendered, highly stylized that we can use to manipulate the car. Instead, we just get some of the functional features that this update has to bring. All right, so I would love for them to focus a little bit more attention on Model S and X as premium vehicles. We're paying that premium. Obviously, it's significantly more than the 3 and Y. And a lot of things justify that price. But part of that is just being able to get the latest and greatest. And we're not really getting that right now. It seems as though, just my theory, just my opinion, seems as though a lot of the design of the UI is being made by people who drive Model 3s and Model Ys. And therefore they make it for themselves, which is what I would do in that position too. But you also have to consider the Model S and X, the higher price models, and consider them as well. Also consider the dual screen experience, which I think is the superior experience. Okay, so that's my little soapbox rant. I'm going to jump back on and off it as we go along, but let's talk about the update. So one of the things that this update brings is the ability to at least distinguish between the software version and the full self-driving version. What do I mean by that? When you go here, you go to software, it now shows you the software version, version 12, and the full self-driving version, 12.3.6. Okay, so this is a really good thing. It's sort of undocumented, but it's a really good thing because it helps customers understand whether or not they're going to get the latest new full self-driving version based on their software version now. Okay, and they can see the difference between the two. And this is available on the app as well. It shows it at the bottom of the app what the version number is for both software and full self-driving. Would really love for Tesla to decouple these together. So to make sure that the software can get updated independently of the full self-driving and vice versa, the same way they do with map data, right? Navigation data gets updated to your car in a different package than the software. You don't get the notification. It just updates automatically in its own package and updates the car's navigation data. And then the software update that you get the notification, it updates and does its thing. And it also includes full self-driving. Would love for full self-driving to be independent. All right, so that's just a little quick tidbit. I'll talk about some of the more undocumented features as we go along, like the increased size for the speedometer in the screen and things like that. But that's one of the first things to note. All right, so this is also forcing a trial on us as well. So we deliberately did not get FSD on the X because the wife just doesn't use it. It's highly usable now. We might be reconsidering that because it's highly usable now for me, and she may consider it as well. But the idea is that it's actually forcing the trial on us. So we installed the update. It automatically upgraded us to the full self-driving trial. We didn't have to opt in, which is kind of interesting. They're really trying to get as much data as they can, as much hands-on time as they can. So that's pretty cool. Again, this update is bringing all the things that we talked about before, full self-driving. Like I said, auto park update we talked about, auto vision. Assist or Tesla Vision Assist, Park Assist. We talked about that as well. But here are some of the features that are new to this build, right? That we didn't have before, starting with Auto Shift Beta. This is really, really a game-changing feature. And Tesla has a way, and I said this before, of giving us things we didn't think we need. Okay, so Auto Shift Beta, this is an enhancement to the previously Auto Shift Out of Park functionality that was existing with the Model S and Model X. People are making such a big deal about the stalks and saying, hey, I have no stalks. Why did you delete the stalks? And I don't know why this keeps changing, but okay. Part of the bugginess nature of what I'm talking about. But they say, hey, why did you delete these stalks? We need the stalks. Bring back the stalks. And effectively what it is that they have a problem swiping on the screen. Now, I've always said this, and maybe not a lot of people have paid attention to it, but the swiping on the screen, the buttons down below or the buttons above, depending on your car, are all backup means to shift the car. Tesla wants the car to shift on its own without you having to direct it to do so. That's their goal. And what they've done with Auto Shift Out of Park, which works about 98 to 99% of the time, is allow you to press the brake and it automatically come out of park, which is great, right? This has taken it to the next level and now allowing you to do multi-point turns and going into drive and reverse automatically for you. Really, really game-changing feature. I can't speak highly enough of this, but it basically allows you to be able to turn that on. You'll go to menu, you go to pedals and steering, and you'll go Auto Shift Out of Park. When we initially loaded this up, it just said Auto Shift Beta. It didn't have these options. We had to reboot a couple times in order for it to come up, just the bugginess of this nature. There's a new build out, I think 14.8, that should be remedying some of these buggy issues. But it should say off, out of park, or on. Out of park is what it usually does, where you just go out of park and you do the rest, or on allows you to be able to go from drive and reverse and do multi-point turns without having to touch anything. And I have to say, it really is a game changer. You really feel like stalks are something out of a bygone era. And it's like, what are we doing with stalks? So let's demo that right now. Auto Shift Beta, let's take it out for a test now. Again, the real experience here is just being able to shift automatically without me having to do anything, which again should silence the naysayers who are skeptical about no stalks and stalk delete. So first and foremost, I'm in here, I'm in drive, and I want to basically go press the brake pedal to go into reverse. It automatically is telling me to go into drive, activate for reverse. So I'll go to reverse. I'll start to back out a little bit. Just gonna be a little bit careful because I have a car next to me. They see me coming out, they're gonna take my spot. And I just turn the yoke, brake, turn, and it goes automatically to drive. So I have to brake and then turn in the other direction or the direction that it thinks I wanna go, and it automatically shifts out of park for me. So that is pretty awesome, pretty sweet to be able to do that. Multi-point turns, no problem. Works when I'm driving or out of park. So that's pretty cool. So I come here, I'll pull in, stop. Now I'm here, I'm in a parking spot, so it's not gonna do it here. I would actually have to shift in the reverse, but I'll shift in the reverse to show you how it works while I'm actively driving. So I'll back up here once this car passes, and then I will show you how it works again. Could be a little bit faster. I think it'll get faster over time once they get some more data on it, but it's pretty sweet. Slow down, turn, brake, good to go. Brake, reverse. Brake, drive. Brake, reverse. Brake, drive. Could do this all day. Super easy to do with the yoke or without the yoke, but no longer having to swipe on the screen. And the greatness and speed of Auto Shift Out of Park is now brought to drive and reverse at low speeds. All right, so as you see, awesome feature. Auto Shift Out of Park, or Auto Shift Beta, I should say, is really cool, awesome feature. All right, next up we have Audible. Audible, for those that want to have Audible in the car without using their phone, dedicated app right here, Audible's there. We got Spotify queue and playback speed, some enhancements to the Spotify player, no issues there. Hands-free trunk, if I can press it and it stay there. Hands-free trunk, this is also a good one, especially for parents who have lots of things when they go in the store. They have the kids, the cart, groceries, bags, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to open the car without having to try to reach for the latch or having to use your phone and try to open it ahead of time, right? So this is great. Allows you to open your trunk automatically when your hands are full by standing behind the car and actually letting the car see you for a few seconds, and it opens up automatically. Unfortunately, the fine print here is that it requires an iPhone 11 Plus in order for this to work. A future update will extend this feature to Android users. We're Android users, so it's unfortunate that we're not able to do that. And again, that's relevant to the people who are building this. People who build this, a lot of the people inside of Tesla are Apple employees. So they, former Apple employees, I should say. So they come over from Tesla and they're using Apple and they're making this device based on Apple capabilities or the leeway they have in their knowledge of Apple ecosystem and infrastructure to build it for iPhone first. So that's, again, them building stuff for them. And that's where we have this issue. Now, obviously, people will talk about iPhone and Android all day. It is what it is. But if people have Android, they have to wait until they catch that feature up to the iPhone. All right. Next up is pretty cool. It's a preview of Sentry recordings on your phone, right? So being able to view the videos, you can already stream the live stream on your phone, but you can't view Sentry mode events or the triggering itself of an actual triggered alarm on your phone. This is going to allow you to be able to send those a small clip of when your Sentry mode is tripped and the alarm is triggered. Send that notification to your phone first and foremost, and then also send a brief clip. So this is pretty cool as well. iPhone specific, they're mentioning it, but it should be for everyone. Premium connectivity is required as well. Now, this is great, but it doesn't work the way that you might want it to. I would love for them to be able to send any Sentry mode event. So anytime Sentry mode is triggered, right, where it captures the recording, send that to me as a clip on my phone so I can take a look and see. That way I'm ahead of someone actually triggering the alarm. This one, the way it works now, says when the Sentry mode is triggered and your vehicle alarm goes off, that's when it's going to be sending the recording, in which case it might be too late. So if you can get me with an event, I can catch someone doing something before they do it, that would be even better. Next up is speed camera chime. They've already introduced speed cameras, which is a pass-through of the Google functionality to be able to show speed cameras. It uses Google Maps as a baseline. So passing that functionality back to the Tesla is great to be able to see them en route. Now it's going to give you a chime when they approach. So this is good. This is going to be really good for people who have speed cameras in their area. They want to be conscious of it, aware of it, and they want to get that chime before it happens. You go here, you go navigation, speed camera chime turns it on, and it'll chime every time a speed camera is near, in addition to showing you on the route when it comes up. All right, trip progress bar. This is a really cool one for the single screen experience. I'll just say the single screen experience. Really cool one. It allows you to be able to see an overall trip progress at the bottom of your turn-by-turn navigation, which is really cool. Not as useful for the dual screen experience because we have a dedicated screen. We have a dedicated app right here for our turn-by-turn. We have the main map right here, which can show the entire progress of the trip or the entire outline of the trip, including more detail than is shown on this bar. So we don't really need that. It's very valuable for the backseat people to be able to see that. So you have any kids who are playing the Are We There Yet game, they'll be able to see on the trip meter where they are on the trip and what kind of traffic they're meeting along the way. But let me show you an example of that, right? So if we go here and we pull this up, the dual screen experience is going to give us, first and foremost, the overall view here. And it doesn't default to this. I would love for it to default to this view. So the overall trip view here, and then we'll get turn by turn. Now I have to turn the car on and sort of move a little bit in order to do that. There we go. So now what you see here is, you see on the screen here, we have the turn by turn, right? And that's the same redundant turn by turn that you see here. And this is what 3 on Y sees when you turn on your navigation. You don't have this screen, but we have this screen on S and X, and we can choose to make this screen the entire trip view. So this is now just redundant data. I don't necessarily need this. Some people might find it valuable, but I think it's a little bit redundant. And again, just focusing on that single screen experience, but not so much on the dual screen experience. Very valuable for the people in the backseat, like I said before. Okay. So, would love for Tesla to really give the S and Xers a little bit of a unique experience and take advantage of these two screens. We have two amazing screens here. Would love for us to have a UI, a version of version 12 UI that focuses on that functionality, focuses on taking full advantage of this big, beautiful screen, as well as these screens and the widgets that are here and the back screen even as well. Okay, so that's what we have here in terms of the release notes in regards to trip progress bar. All right, next thing we have is better route available. It's already there. It comes up on the screen when a better route is available. As you can see already, I can already choose the route that I want as well on the screen. But now it's going to tell you if there's a better route available. So it says navigation now shows you at the top of your turn-by-turn list if a faster route becomes available. This is really good because it brings it to your attention. Sometimes the route doesn't always change to the fastest route, and you have to change it manually. But if you're driving and you just want a really obvious indicator, this is the indicator it's going to give you, which is great. Next is security improvements. No real details here. I'm assuming it has to do with Tesla's sort of hackathons that they do, or hacking tournaments where they allow people to go around and hack Teslas and see if they can break in and test the vulnerability of the car. And I know a team recently won some cash and a new Model 3 because they found some vulnerabilities. I'm assuming this takes that into consideration and patches up those updates to make it more secure. So that's really, really cool on Tesla to be able to do that and do it consistently, right? So do it all the time, wherever that, every year they go around and do these hackathons, invite the best hackers in the world to come out and test Tesla's security, which is great. And then we got other updates, right? So other updates that are here that are not as popular as those. When you're parked, you can now expand the browser to full screen. Again, another rant, jump back on the soapbox. You go to browser here and you pull up the browser and we've got this 2/3 experience. We don't need the 2/3 experience on the Model S and X, and you can only go full screen when the car is in park. So I have to go to park and now I can go full screen. This is beautiful, right? It's beautiful to have full screen apps. Model S and Model X have always had full screen apps, just as an FYI. The older UIs, version 9, version 10, they had full screen apps that you could use, and you could even split them halfway. They no longer do that because everything is focused on the single screen experience. And I'm really, really not fond of that experience for the cars that don't need it. If you need it and you only have one screen, this is a great use of the UI and great use of the space. If you have the extra screens, we need to take advantage of that. This should always be able to be full screen for S and X. There's no reason, there's nothing I'm missing or nothing that's adding to me being distracted, right? With an additional 1/3 of the screen coming open. So if I go to Tesla's website and I go and I launch it, I don't get any more distracted looking at it like this than I do looking at it like this. I don't know what the big deal is. It looks beautiful like this. And I understand you want to disable video for distractions, which is great, but this is really silly. This is absolutely silly. And again, from a navigation perspective, if this is full screen, I would still have my turn by turn here. I can still get to my destination. I should be able to have full screen apps. Okay. Even the backup camera is not full screen. Like, this is ridiculous. The backup camera is not full screen, and a little bit of bugginess happening here. So don't mind that. But backup screen is not full screen. I can't make it full screen here. I can't do anything. The only time I can make it full screen is if I'm in reverse. And now I can go full screen. Beautiful experience, right? To be able to have this view plus that, it's amazing. We got to take advantage of that. Tesla, you got to listen. You got to make a unique experience for the S and X and take advantage of this screen. Your passengers can now see the current trip details and temperature on top of the rear touchscreen, except when entertainment apps are being used in full screen. Obviously, we talked about that. You can now swipe to delete Sentry Mode videos. This is really, really cool because Sentry Mode used to be a pain in the butt to navigate. And just as an FYI, the dash cam experience, the Sentry Mode experience, that was not intended. That was something that Elon sort of dumped on the developer's lap last minute, and they made it work. So some of the best developers in the world, they made it work, which is great. But the UI kind of suffered as a result. Very cumbersome and very clunky. So if you go here and you open up the app, again, 2/3, not the full screen for some odd reason, and then you come here and you look at your Sentry Mode events, you can now start to see, what the event is. And what you would need to do prior to this update is press delete on each one. Are you sure? Delete, so on and so forth. Now with this new update, I can just simply go here, boom, delete, here, boom, delete, here, boom, delete, here, boom, delete. And obviously the fastest way is to take out your USB and do it that way. But quick way, really good update here. Would love to make this full screen. Tesla, please. Can I say it enough? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But hopefully you're listening. Other updates here. When Valley Mode is on, the vehicle is unlocked or shifted out of park. You receive notifications. Always good there. 2 video game updates I'm not going to talk about. Not really relevant to us. Just new updates to the games that they have here. And now if you have no passengers in the back seat, the rear touchscreen now turns off when you shift out of park. This is really, really good because when I first got the Model S, when it first came out, the Plaid, one of the issues I had was the screen was always on bright when no one was in the car but just me. So this is great to be able to save some energy and just not have everybody in your business. If they're looking, parked next to you, looking at your rear screen, they can see your music you're playing, they can see whatever's on the screen. Not a good look. So to be able to turn it off is great. As you see here, if you're noticing here, they also added after the launch the ability for when a passenger is not there, they turn off the climate on this side. And that introduces this swap icon here where you can sort of swap the positioning of things accordingly when that climate is not there. When someone sits there, the climate turns on that side and you're good to go. All right, so that's pretty much it in terms of what we got. There are some small things, the speedometer I mentioned before, the updates to the the options here for steering wheel weight here are now light, standard, and heavy. This is pedals and steering is supposed to be changed to dynamics, which it is on the new Model 3 Performance as well as the Cybertruck. I'm not sure if that came through in this update or not. Again, this one is a little bit buggy. We're probably going to get the latest one imminently to just correct those issues. And then again, to activate the auto shift out of park is there. You also have the ability to do the hands-free trunk, right? Hands-free trunk is here through locks, but again, you can't do that unless you have the latest iPhone. I'm not sure if it has something to do with ultra wideband. Android has ultra wideband too. I'm just not sure. I'll let Tesla speak to that. Otherwise, this is a pretty solid build. Let me know what your thoughts are on this build if you got it. Do you think it's better than the last build? Let me know if you got a 3 or a Y, what that version 12 experience is like. The media player is supposed to be much better. We don't see those improvements here in the S and X. The main improvements are going to be for the 3 and Y experience. Chime in the comments and let us know what you think about this update. And until the next time, enjoy your day. Enjoy your Tesla.